getting ourselves settled and centering ourselves, I have 12 opportunities to read throughout this service. If you would raise your hand and be willing to come up, I'm just going to let's give you. They're numbered, so simply say Well, thank you all for coming together to grieve with us this evening. For a beautiful soul gone to heaven far too soon. There's absolutely nothing to prepare any of us for the extreme loss that Lisa and Matt are experiencing, and so many of you who have known David from birth. The only structure to this time together are some readings, a few pieces of music, and the opportunity for you to come up and to share your memories or anything that arises in your hearts this evening. I'll at some point share an extremely brief reflection, but for now, let's have a moment of silence and a piece of music. Any time in the service that you feel moved to come forward and light a candle, you're welcome to.
I will come to you in the silence. I will lift you from all your fear. You will hear my voice. I claim you as my choice. Be still and know I am here.
I shadows of the night, I will be your light. Come and rest in me.
Do not be afraid, I am with you. I have called you each by name. Come and follow me, I will bring you home. I love you and you are mine. I am strength for all the despairing,
Healing for the ones who dwell in shame.
all the blind will see, the lame will all run free, and all will know my name. Do not be afraid, I am with you. I have called you each by name. Come and follow me, I will bring you home. I love you and you are mine. I am the word that leads all to freedom. I am the peace the world cannot give. I will call your name, embracing all your pain. Stand up now, walk and live. Do not be afraid, I am with you. I have called you each by name. Come and follow me, I will bring you home. I love you and you are mine. Do not be afraid, I am with you. I have called you each by name. Come and follow me, I will bring you home. I love you and you are mine.
I invite our first reader to come forward.
In the Breath, Another Breathing by Jan Richardson. Let it be that on this day we will expect no more of ourselves than to keep breathing with a bewildered cadence of lungs that will not give up the ghost. Let it be that we will expect little but the beating of the heart, stubborn in such a repeating rhythm that will not cease to sound. Let it be we will still ourselves enough to hear, but may yet come to echo As if in the breath, another breathing, as if in the heartbeat, another heart. Let it be. We will not try to fathom what comes to meet us in the stillness, but simply open to the approach of a mystery we hardly dare to dream.
Would our reader of Psalm 139 come forward?
Lord, you have searched me out and known me. You know my sitting down and my rising up. You discern my thoughts from afar. You trace my journeys and my resting places and are acquainted with all my ways. Indeed, there is not a word on my lips, but you, O Lord, know it altogether. You press upon me behind and before, and lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is so high that I cannot attain it. Where can I go then from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I climb up to heaven, you are there. If I make the grave my bed, you are there also. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there your hand will lead me and your right hand hold me fast. If I say, surely the darkness will cover me and light around me turn to night. But darkness is not dark to you. The night is as bright as the day. Darkness and light to you are both alike. View yourself created my inmost parts. You knit me together. In my mother's womb, I will thank you because I am marvelously made. Your works are wonderful, and I know it well.
There are so many questions. David suffered from depression for most of his life. And a friend shared with me a beautiful image that I've held close to my heart all day. He said to me that depression is like a deep lake of darkness. And in the winter, it freezes over. And you think that your antidepressant and your meditation and your walks outside and your therapist and your friends and your family and all of your support systems strengthen a thick layer of ice. And you go out skating with your friends and you feel the sun on your face and you have moments of deep joy. You have moments when people look at you and they would never in a million years suspect the depths of the darkness of the lake. There might even be a year that the ice thaws and you enjoy swimming and kayaking. The lake is deep and dark, but on the surface you're able to see the dappled light and the loons and the ducks and the swans swimming on the lake. But then one year it ices over and the ice isn't quite as thick. And you're not quite as aware of the turmoil underneath the ice. And you're seeing your therapist and you're taking your medications, but the ice is thinner and thinner. But on the surface, you still seem to be okay. It still looks like ice. You still seem to be able to walk out on it. Until one night, you don't tell your family or your friends or anybody that at midnight you're going to walk out onto the lake. And the ice has gotten so thin that you crack through. And even in the sinking, you're held by the water. The cold protects you from feeling. And your suffering is over. None of us knew how thin that ice was getting for David. Nobody knew that he chose to go walking at midnight. But we know he was bright and intelligent and loving and compassionate and funny and beloved of God and resting in the arms of Jesus. And watching us now with a broken, open heart because he was such a special soul. I invite the third reader to come forward and to share a blessing written by the Irish poet and priest John O'Donoghue for the families and friends of someone who has died from suicide.
As you huddle around the torn silence, each by this lonely deed exiled to a solitary confinement of soul, may some small glow from what has been lost return like the kindness of candlelight. as your eyes strain to sift this sudden wall of dark, and no one can say why, in such a forsaken, secret way, this death was sent for. May one of the lovely hours of memory return, like a field of ease among these graveled days. May the angel of wisdom enter this ruin of absence and guide your minds to receive this bitter chalice, so that you do not damage yourselves by attending only at the hungry altar of regret and anger and guilt. May you be given some inkling that there could be something else at work, and that what to you now seems dark, destructive, and forlorn might be a destiny that looks different from inside the eternal script. May vision be granted to you to see this with the eyes of providence. May your loss become a sanctuary where new presence will dwell, to refine and enrich the rest of your life with courage and compassion. And may your lost loved one enter into the beauty of eternal tranquility in that place where there is no more sorrow or separation or mourning or tears.
Praying by Mary Oliver. It doesn't have to be the blue iris. It could be weeds in a vacant lock or a few small stones. Just pay attention, then patch a few words together, and don't try to make them elaborate. This isn't a contest, but the doorway into thanks and a silence in which another voice may speak.
Let our fifth reader come forward, please.
Isaiah 40:28-31. Have you not known? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He does not faint or grow weary, but his understanding is unsearchable. He gives power to the faint, strengthens the powerless. Even youths will faint and be weary, and the young will fall exhausted. But those who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall not mount up they shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall not run and not be weary. They shall walk and not be faint.
And he will raise you up on eagle's wings, bear you on the breath of dawn, make you to shine like the sun, and hold you in the palm of his hand. The snare of the fowler will never capture you, and famine will bring you no fear. Under his wings your refuge, his faithfulness your shield.
And he will raise you up on eagle's wings, bear you on the breath of dawn, make you to shine like the sun, and hold you in the palm of his hand.
You need not fear the terror of the night, nor the arrow that flies by day. Though thousands fall about you, dash your foot against a stone.
And he will raise you up on eagle's wings. Bear you on the breath of dawn. Make you to shine like the sun. And valor in the work of his hand.
And hold you in the palm of his hand.
Will our sixth reader come forward, please?
The Art of Enduring by Jan Richardson. This blessing can wait as long as you can, longer. This blessing began eons ago and knows the art of enduring. This blessing has passed through ages and generations, witnessed the turning of centuries, weathered the spiraling of history. This blessing is in no rush. This blessing will plant itself by your door. This blessing will keep vigil and chant prayers. This blessing will bring a friend for company. This blessing will pack up lunch and a thermos of coffee. This blessing will bide its sweet time until it hears the beginning of breath, the stirring of limbs, the stretching, reaching, rising of what had lain dead within you and is ready to return.
Will our seventh reader come forward?
When Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went and met him, while Mary stayed at home. Martha said to Jesus, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But even now I know that God will give you whatever you ask of him." Jesus said to her, "Your brother will rise again." Martha said to him, "I know that he will rise again in the resurrection on the last day." Jesus said to her, "I am the resurrection and the life. Those who believe in me, though they die, will live. Everyone who lives and believes in me will never die. Do you believe this?" She said to him, "Yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Messiah, the Son of God, the one coming into the world." When she had said this, she went back and called her sister Mary and told her privately, "The teacher is here and calling for you." And when she heard it, she got up quickly and went to him. Now Jesus had not yet come to the village, but was still at the place where Mary had met him. The Jews who were with her, in the house, consoling her, saw Mary get up and go out quickly. They followed her because they thought that she was going to the tomb to weep there. When Mary came where Jesus was and saw him, she knelt at his feet and said to him, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." When Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who came with her also weeping, he was greatly disturbed in spirit and deeply moved. He said, "Where have you laid him?" They said to him, "Lord, come and see." Jesus began to weep.
Most merciful God, whose wisdom is beyond our understanding, deal graciously with Lisa and Matt and Michael and all of David's family and friends in their grief. Surround them with your love, that they may not be overwhelmed by their loss, but have confidence in your goodness and strength to meet the days to come. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. In the beauty of that gospel passage, we see the profound effect of our relationships and the sorrow of family and friends. And I invite you now at this time, if you would like to come forward and share a story, something about David that was special to you, that made you laugh, a memory that you have of him. Anything that you would like to share at this time.
I don't have a particular story, but I do have two boys who are brokenhearted at this news, and I know we are all brokenhearted, but I have to say that David was a huge role model for my boys, and they spent a lot of time with him in Sunday school and in youth group and at the retreat and in the drama club, watching him in the plays and watching him when he would come back from school, and he would seek them out. And I am so thankful, so thankful for his life and for the impact that he had on them. And I am so sad that this world will not have the joy of him. I'm so saddened by that. And I just wanted to say thank you to Lisa and to David. To Lisa and Matt, and thank you for sharing him with us.
This last summer, I had the chance to share a tent with David at the Amazing Grace Camp. He was kind of a late recruit that came in, and his openness to the experience and willingness to take on whatever needed to be done was amazing. Even more amazing was how quickly he formed a real relationship with all those kids. He really was a model mentor, and I was really looking forward to having him back this year. One example, as we came to the last day, there was a task for all the boys to get together to plan a presentation for their parents. I ducked out of that because of fearing the chaos. And I felt a little guilty about that until I saw David in performing it. He had the kids around the campfire. He was not giving instructions, but drawing them out and bringing them all together. So I can absolutely assure you that David's light still shines in all those kids.
So, for me, when someone passes away, in my experience, just every moment is like a movie of them going over and over in your head. And just the day before, that movie wasn't going, but you would fondly and happily think of these people and laugh and joke, and they'd come up in conversation. And, I had seen Lisa last month because they were moving, and just, of course, we're talking about our children, and David doing so well and happy. And I was just so happy for him. And he was living a few states away, and my son had moved a few states away too. And my son Jack and David were lifelong friends. I think my first memory of them being together is, I think, David's 5th birthday party. We joined the church when my son was 4 and he's 24, the same age as David. And of course, my son's life is kind of like a mirror of David's life in very different ways, but I keep just seeing, when they were little boys, David would come and stay over at the house, and I can remember he was a picky eater, and I would be making certain meals for him and other meals for the other kids. And then I just picture birthday parties, concerts, picking them up from the Barbara Harris camp and them begging me to go to lunch. Just as they went through school, they were acolytes here at the church. We were the mothers, me and Lisa, and our children we were Sunday school teachers, and our children were each year, going off into a different class as they got older and older. And, just today, I'm just every other minute is David. David is 5 years old. David is 20 years old. David is graduating. My son is 5. My son is graduating. Like, it's just like incomprehensible that this is happening, and I had to, of course, call my son and tell him that his lifelong dearest friend had passed away, and he is obviously devastated, and we all are, but David was such a star, like the lifeguard, the lead role in the play, when I think of him, I think of a shining star, laughter, joy,
so proud of him in all of his accomplishments, and his parents, who I love dearly. His so many happy, happy memories, and I know my son and I and everybody else time will go by, and the movie will keep playing, and it'll eventually, the joy, the happy, the just so lucky to know him. So lucky to know him, and so I just wanted to say that. Thanks.
As somebody with a disability that grieves with physical pain and found comfort in simply being an acolyte because somebody was on your team. Behind you or in front of you. Pouring the wine into the chalice. Washing the priest's hands. And being able to just kind of have them in the back. Not necessarily in the back seat, but to just kind of have their energy. In front of you, or just a smile, or parking for Holly Fair or different events we've had over the years. Yes, Henry, who hasn't driven in, all 27 years, would have him helping me arrange cars. I had a medical event myself, so I personally chose not to drive. But there was always a Palmer right there behind you, able to just kind of tap you on the back when you needed a pat on the back, or just talk, or just simply, we didn't have phone numbers, but every single time we crossed paths, it was reassurance to know that we're okay. And he would be right behind me, lighting the candles on Christmas Eve or any special fare of having candles in the pews. As, somebody who's 4 years or 3 years younger than me, to help you with a disability, help somebody who, has some physical challenges to get things done. And to just have somebody who's going to be right there beside you to get things done and ready for each Mass. That was David Palmer.
Henry, your words were so perfect. David always had everybody's back. And I know you're going to remember this story because you were standing there with me trying to keep me from freaking out. But my very first youth group, one of the very first youth groups that I had when I was called to St. Mary's and Henry was on the search committee, we went down to Millway Beach. And I came from Northern Virginia where we swam in swimming pools, not in harbors with 12-foot tides. And my daughter, Sophie, decided to go for a swim on an outgoing tide. And she was definitely not okay. And Henry, who was working with the fire department closely, was looking at me and looking at her and looking at me and looking at her. And David comes over, rips off his shirt, goes straight into the harbor after her. And now I'm like, oh my God, they're both going to get swept out to sea. And Henry says to me, he's a lifeguard. Everything will be fine. And it was just such a beautiful moment of these two almost men knowing each other so well. David jumping straight in to help. And then I all day long I've been looking for the picture when he and Sophie came out of the water. He threw his arms in the air with this extraordinary sign of victory. And he walked over to me and he said, I probably should have told you I was a lifeguard before I went in. So thank you, Henry, for all that you are in this congregation. And what an amazing friend you were to David. Would anybody else like to come forward to share a story about David at this time?
I feel like I don't need to stand on the box. I think about how our boys, our two boys, and our two boys, and our two boys, and our boys, and all the girls in Sunday school, and all the antics and the laughter and the stories. And I never will forget telling stories with our children in Sunday school and those beautiful moments together. I'll never forget, especially sitting with a circle of children and telling the story of baptism. And Godly Play has this wonderful piece of drama to it, a lot like worship, where you are part of a story as well as telling a story. It's that wonderful parable within a parable. And at the end, you extinguish the candle and talk about a part of the nature of God, which is the Holy Spirit. And I'll never forget looking across the circle at all these children and, sitting comfortably and listening, and it was a beautiful moment. And David just, he got it. He so got that beautiful moment of, you're not extinguishing the candle. It's changing. The light is somehow changing into something else. I didn't know. I didn't know how important that moment would be and how much I'd miss all of those beautiful moments. But how, like Kate said, it was so nice to be able to visit them in the past day, just to think about the antics and the laughter and the frog and the coffee cup all those little things. And I just hope for that in all of us, that we can remember the good days and the long swims that ended really, really well. I was glad to hear that story. Thank you.
I will not leave you comfortless. I will not leave you alone. I am the air you breathe in. I'm the light of every star and every dawn. I will not leave you comfortless. I will not leave you alone. I am the air you breathe in. I'm the light of every star and every dawn. I will not leave you comfortless. I will not leave you alone. I am the air you breathe in. I'm the light of every star and every dawn. I will not leave you comfortless. I will not leave you alone. I am the air you breathe in. I'm the light of every star and every dawn. I will not leave you comfortless. I will not leave you alone. I am the air you breathe in. I'm the light of every star and every dawn.
I invite our seventh reader to come forward.
Heavy by Mary Oliver. That time I thought I could not go any closer to grief without dying. I went closer, and I did not die. Surely God had his hand in this, as well as friends. Still, I was bent, and my laughter, as the poet said, was nowhere to be found. Then said my friend Daniel, brave even among lions, "It is not the weight you carry, but how you carry it. Books, bricks, grief, it's all in the way you embrace it, balance it, carry it. When you cannot and would not put it down, So I went practicing. Have you noticed? Have you heard the laughter that comes now and again out of my startled mouth? How I linger to admire the things of this world that are kind and maybe also troubled. Roses in the wind, the sea geese on the steep waves, a love to which there is no reply.
I invite our next reader to come forward. The Venerable Bede.
We seem to give them back to you, O God, who gave them first to us. Yet as you did not lose them in giving, so we do not lose them by their return. Nor as the world gives, do you give. What you give, you do not take away. For what is yours is also ours. We are yours, and life is eternal. And love is immortal. And death is only a horizon. And a horizon is but the limit of our sight. Lift us up, strong Son of God, that we may see further. Cleanse our eyes that we may see more clearly. Draw us closer to yourself, that we may know ourselves to be nearer to our loved ones who are with you. And while you prepare a place for us, prepare us also for that happy place, that where you are, we may be also forevermore. The Venerable Bede.
Will our 10th reader come forward, please?
Your soul is free. Your soul is free, but there is so much here I wish you could see. Your soul is free, but there was so much left to say. Your soul is free. I should have realized you weren't okay. Your soul is free, but your death tore me apart. Your soul is free, so I keep you in my heart. Your soul is free, but I want you here with me. Your soul is free. I play over that decision you made that day. Your soul is free. I wonder if I could have made you stay. Your soul is free, but there is so much here I wish you could see.
retrieving peace.
The Well of Grief by David White. Those who will not slip beneath the still surface on the well of grief, running down through its black water to the place we cannot breathe, will never know the source from which we drink, the secret water cold and clear, nor find in the darkness glimmering the small round coins thrown by those who wished for something else.
As we come towards the end of this time of remembrance and grieving together, I'm so aware of all of the other griefs that you all are carrying. And I know that a heartbreak like this can rip open wounds that you might not have tended to in a long time. So please be extremely gentle with yourselves. We will read this final prayer together, and then as I play music, you're welcome to light more candles, or there are a couple of pieces of poster board in the back. I invite you to sign for Lisa and Matt, and Barbara will take them home and make them look like cards. Especially for those of you who suffer from depression or know people who suffer from depression, I beg of you, reach out to us at St. Mary's, to your therapist, to your friends, to your families. All of our ice is thinner tonight, and we love you so much. And we are all here together, and we'll wrap around Lisa and Matt and Michael, as much as he'll let us, with the biggest hug and love and cherishing when they are ready. Lisa and Matt are in Virginia as we speak and have recovered a will that David left. So as soon as we know what his wishes were, we will communicate what sort of memorial service we'll have here at St. Mary's. So please join in saying, when we breathe together. Judy, there's a copy right there. This is the blessing we cannot speak by ourselves. This is the blessing we cannot summon by our own devices, cannot shape to our purpose, cannot bend to our will. This is the blessing that comes when we believe behind our aloneness, when we gather together, when we turn toward one another. This is the blessing that blazes among us when we speak the words strange to our ears, when we finally listen into the chaos, when we breathe together at last. My friends, deep peace of the running wave to you, deep peace of the flowing air to you, deep peace of the quiet earth to you, deep peace of the falling snow to you. May the sun and the moon and all of those bright stars, including David, shine their healing light on you. deep peace of Christ, the light of the world, to you. And the blessing of our loving, liberating, and life-giving God be with you and those beloved to you today and forevermore. Amen.
You shall cross the barren desert, but you shall not die of thirst. You shall wander far in safety, though you do not know the way. You shall speak your words in foreign lands, and all will understand. You shall see the face of God and live. Be not afraid. I go before you always. Come, follow me, and I will give you rest. Blessed are your poor, for the kingdom shall be theirs. Blessed are you that weep and mourn, for one day you shall laugh. And if wicked tongues insult and hate you, all because of me, blessed are you. Be not afraid. I